So today we'll be looking at Chapter 8, the recent study text, and this is one of the significant additions to the study text, even though we've looked at part of or some of the content of this report in Chapter 5, business analysis, where it was blown out in Chapter 8, which is sustainability, sustainable business, responsible finance, and sustainability reporting. That's what we'll be looking at today in Chapter 8. And by way of the learning objective, or by the way of the contents, we'll be having the learning objective. Then we'll be looking at the learning outcomes. We'll be looking at the second unit, the concept of sustainability. We'll also look at sustainable business, what it's all about, the triple bottom line reporting. We'll also be looking at sustainability as a value driver in business. Then the sixth unit will be looking at sustainability reporting, a global evolution. I think that's a duplication. Then 8 will look at sustainability, sustainable finance and responsible investments. Then the next unit will look at the Equator principles. Then 10 will look at sustainability reporting in Nigeria, preparation, challenges, and the roles of professional accountants. And 11 will look at the overview of the International Sustainability Standards Board of the IFRS, the first Standard 1 and the Standard 2. And finally, we look at the role of professional accountants in sustainability and sustainability reporting. So that's the modules we'll be looking at in this class. So the learning objective is that learners are supposed to understand the concepts of sustainability and everything about sustainable businesses, responsible finance, and sustainability reporting. And after that, you've learned you're supposed to be able to discuss the concept of sustainability, discuss sustainable businesses, explain the triple bottom line reporting, also be able to discuss sustainability as a value driver in business, also discuss sustainability reporting and its global evolution. You should be able to also discuss the evolution of sustainability and sustainability reporting in Nigeria. And we should be able to also discuss sustainability finance and responsible investments and explain also the latest addition, which is the Equator principles. And finally, you should be able to discuss sustainability reporting in Nigeria, preparation, challenges, and the role of professional accountants. Okay, not finally now, and also discuss an overview on the ISSB, IFRS S1 and 2, and also discuss the roles of professional accountants in sustainability and sustainability reporting. And above all, be able to answer questions in this regard when it comes to answering or treating any of the requirements in the case study exams if it shows up. So it's very important we take note of that as we continue in this conversation on sustainability, sustainable businesses, so responsible finance, and sustainability reporting. Okay, so let's talk about the concept. By way of concept, what is sustainability all about? If you hear the word sustainability, what does it talk about? It's about meeting the needs. Sustainability talks about meeting the needs of the present business, the present stakeholders, shareholders, owners of companies. It's about meeting their needs. It's also about meeting the needs of clients, customers, those that patronize those businesses for products and services, without compromising the ability to future or the ability of future generations to meet their own needs too. So sustainability is not about now, it's about the future. When you talk about sustainability, the idea should be about the future. The future, take note of that. And the 3 pillars of sustainability talks about, number 1, the environmental protection, safeguarding natural resources, biodiversity, and ecosystems, talking about the environment, protecting the environment, not just being driven by profit at any cost, whether destroying the environment, destroying the air, water, land, just to get profit. No, that's not what sustainability is all about. So environmental protection in our quest to make profit or make money, create wealth and value. This should be at the back of business owners, producers, service providers. This should be at the back of their mind. So environmental protection is a great pillar of sustainability. Number 2, social equity, ensuring fairness, inclusivity, human rights, and community well-being. So as most businesses are after profit making, it's very important to understand that ensuring fairness, including especially community members where businesses are domiciled or resident, ensuring human rights are facilitated, and also taking care of the community where the business is the social equity we're talking about, and a pillar, or the second pillar of sustainability. And finally, economic viability. The business should be able to maintain growth, financial stability in ways that support long-term prosperity. When businesses thrive, individuals working there, the environment, the community, the country also thrives. It's very important. Economic viability drives businesses, makes businesses prosperous, makes businesses sustainable in the future. So it's very important to understand these 3 pillars: economic, social, environmental, social, and economic pillars of sustainability. And the key idea is that sustainability is interconnected. Neglecting any of these pillars around environmental, social, and economic makes the whole idea null and void. Let me use the word, makes the whole idea null and void. So 3 of them are intertwined, they are interconnected. So each pillar works. If you take care of the environment, you take care of the social area, you take care of the economy, then 3 of them are together. You can't concentrate on one and neglect the other 2. So 3 of them are interconnected, and neglecting one weakens the other. So for example, unsustainable economic practices leads to economic degradation. So, and that also leads to social inequality. So you can't neglect any of those pillars. And it will culminate in environmental harm, speaking to reduce resources for economic growth, and also threatens social welfare. So this example shows that a flaw in one, or a defect in one as a result of activities and decisions made, will affect the other 2 pillars. And it matters because sustainability moves beyond just environmental preservation. It aims to create a just, equitable, and prosperous world for present and future generations. And this equity talks about the social. So you have to protect the environment, ensure social equity, and make sure the business is economically viable. That's why it matters very much. So that's generally the idea of sustainability. So please, if you have any questions, as a recent topic, we need to interject very freely, or raise your hand if you have any contribution, so we could address your concerns very, very quickly. So please feel free to interject. Let's engage. As it's a new topic, we don't know whether it will be tested in any of the requirements in the case study. Since it's a new topic, let's pay attention and try to interject freely where we have any concerns. All right, so having looked at that brief introduction on the idea of sustainability, let's talk about the first session, looking at sustainability and the sustainable development goals. Sustainability and sustainable development goals. Now, sustainability and the sustainability development goals. Okay, yes, please, Honorable Oye, please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. I can hear you.
This sustainability reporting, okay, this sustainability reporting, can it be like a requirement in the case study exam?
Of course. Can be a requirement, maybe common as requirement 2 mostly, and you may be asked to discuss any of this, any of the concepts here. So it can come as a requirement, and as a new topic,
okay,
expect
last diet. Okay, I think last diet, I think it was tested that discussed the sustainability issue or something on this, because I took the last diet exam.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. So I think it was tested last diet.
Okay. Actually, we'll be looking at that diet question
So
in one
yeah,
of
that's what
our.
I'm saying.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So I'm saying that it can be a requirement. So that's my question, sir.
Okay. All right. Good question. So, like I said, since it was tested last diet, it can come back again because I think in the last diet it was not a full requirement; it was added to a requirement. So we'll actually be looking at that diet in one of our debrief sessions. I think in the next 2 or 3 debrief sessions, we'll look at that May 2025 question, and we'll look at the full requirements. And it's good it was tested that diet so that if it's brought in again in this diet, we'll know how to address it within the 8 boxes that the examiner likes us to discuss fully about. So let's look at this concepts so that we can understand the concepts very well based on the new study text, because these lecture notes, these slides are based on the new study text. Then in answering your question, yes, it can come as a maybe full requirement. I think it came partially in one of the requirements. I've not studied that May 2025 question yet, but I'll look at it then, look at how it was tested and how it could be tested. Then also the pilot question. There's a pilot question we'll also be looking at for the current May 2025 case study question. There's a pilot question on it. So I'll look at the requirement whether it's also on sustainability so that we can get ourselves adequately prepared in case that comes as a full-blown requirement. Since it's a full topic and is a full chapter in the new study text, anything is examinable for ICAN. So good question. In answering your question, yes, ICAN can come with it as a full requirement. All right. So I hope you got my little explanation on that. Hello, Oye. HO, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You've answered my question. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. Thank you for bringing that to the fore. Okay. So in speaking to sustainability and the sustainable development goals, we're talking about the core idea, and we said sustainability and SDGs represent a shared global vision for a better future. So these goals are promulgated to come up with a global picture and a vision that serves the entire globe. And it was adopted by the UN member states in 2015. The 17 SDG goals aim to be achieved by 2030. And they address issues around poverty, which is a main challenge around developing and underdeveloped nations. So these goals are around poverty, inequality, health, education, climate change, environmental protection, and economic growth in an integrated way. So achieving them requires collaboration between governments, countries, economies, businesses, social societies, and individuals. And these 17 goals speak to addressing and having a result of no poverty across the globe. No poverty. Nobody should go below the $1 per day meal mark. And B, zero hunger globally. C, good health and well-being. D, quality education. E, gender equality, 50-50 chance of women having the same space, working in the same space with men. F, clean water and sanitization. G, affordable and clean energy. H, decent work and economic growth for businesses. Next is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Next is reduced inequalities among the male and female species, humans, talking about them. And the next is sustainable cities and economies, communities. Next is responsible consumption and production. Another goal is climate action. Another goal is life below water, ensuring aquatics, everything around is sustainable, not just poaching and hunting to annihilate some of those special species in the river. Also, life on land, ensuring everybody breathes well, everybody has a right to live. And the goal of peace, justice, and strong institutions globally. Partnership is the next one for the goals and interconnectedness of the social development goals. So these goals are interlinked, all of them from A to Q. And you see that the meaning is ensuring progress in each one of those goals accelerates progress in the others. So, for example, gender equality, which is number 5, and also better health, number 3, stronger economic growth, number 8. You see, gender equality leads to better health, culminates in stronger economic growth. And talking about these goals, they are intertwined. The success of one leads to the success of the other. Also, climate action talks about its impact on poverty, reduces hunger, and makes water available. So each goals affect the other. And it calls for holistic and integrated approaches across the globe, across countries, across economies to ensure that these integrated approaches and synergies with countries to achieve these goals. And the role of the public sector in achieving social development goals is to, number 1, come up with policies and regulations that develop legal frameworks for sustainable practices. So where the public sector, talking about governments and government parastatals, provide policies and regulations that develop legal frameworks for sustainable practices, it also leads to setting national targets adapted to local context with these goals in mind. Also, the role of the public sector, governments, is to fund and invest in these projects. That is, allocate budgets to SDG-related projects, mobilize and aid for international support. Also, another core role of the public sector is capacity building, train workforce and institutions, human resources, in understanding what these goals are all about and how to drive them. Also provide technical support to local communities. Another one is monitoring and accountability for these goals. Establish data systems to track these SDG goals and their progress. Report. And also report on these to stakeholders regularly. And number 5 is public sector or governments are to ensure public awareness and engagement. Create this awareness by running awareness campaigns on it. Engage citizens, non-governmental organizations, and marginalized groups to be aware and drive this agenda. So that's for the public. Then we have the role of the private sector in achieving these goals. Number 1 is innovation and technology. Private sector should be able to invest in research and development for sustainability or sustainable products. Adopt green technology by ensuring that a lot of technologies, by reducing power consumption and moving on to green technology like solar systems, solar powered technology that reduces hydrocarbon emissions, should be encouraged. That's what adopting green technology is all about. Also, the private sector to drive corporate social responsibility by ensuring fair labor and ethical practices, community engagement initiatives, and ensuring that there's inclusivity of community individuals in businesses. And number 3, investment and financing. The private sector should drive investment in sustainable projects, engage in public-private partnerships, which are PPPs. And number 4, sustainable supply chain. The private sector should be able to promote fair trade and responsible sourcing, reduce waste, and encourage circular economy. Number 5, reporting and transparency on these SDG goals by publishing sustainability reports. Mostly now you see in financial or annual reports of companies, especially private, you see sustainability reports as a separate section, which is part of the goal to drive the SDGs and report quantitatively and qualitatively on what they've done around the SDG goals. Somebody is trying to say something. Okay, I think
Okay.
HO is not
Okay.
muted. Okay, please mute if you're not speaking. Thank you, so we don't get distracted. All right, so I was speaking to reporting and transparency, and I said the private sector should be accountable for their social development goal impact. And you see, this collaboration between the public and the private sector culminates practically in shared goals, that is aligning business strategies with national development plans. Also, this private PPP partnership would help the public and private sector to pool resources together and also expertise to drive these goals. Also, knowledge exchange is another resultant effect of the public and the private companies ensuring that, or private sectors ensuring that they align with these SDGs, is sharing best practices and research. That is knowledge exchange. Then integrated planning talks about combining economic, social, and environmental factors, which are the three pillars to help drive these SDGs. Also, multi-stakeholder platforms like government platforms, private sector platforms, non-governmental organization platforms, international organizations work together to drive these goals and achieve that objective of the 17 SDGs we saw earlier. So the key exam angle, aside the understanding of these goals, is that it may show up in a way that we should be able to discuss around how SDGs link business strategy, risk management, corporate governance, and sustainability reporting in the exams. So around the 8 boxes, when SDG goals come as maybe exhibits and a requirement asks us to test or asks us to discuss around something like this. So we should think and comprehensively decipher that the SDGs should be linked to business strategy, risk management. One of the requirements, or one of the boxes, box 6 specifically talks about evaluative skills and judgment, and that's around risk management. So you should be able to align some of these goals in those boxes, ensuring corporate governance, sustainability reporting, and some of the things, the idea about sustainability reporting talks about ethics, which is the 5th box. The ethical issues. So where a company is not complying sustainably for complying to sustainable goals, sustainable practices for the business, it will come under that box, which is ethical issues. So take note of the exam angle as you understand the concepts, the ideas, the nitty-gritties, the details about SDG and the goals. We always have the exam at the back of our mind, because primarily why we are here for the classes is to pass the exams primarily, then secondarily apply them to our day-to-day work. So take note of this key exam angle as we speak, and you will not see that in the current study text. I injected this exam angle so that you not get carried away by the maybe seemingly fantastic stories around SDGs, but ensuring that you align with anything examinable in these concepts we're sharing. That's very important. Okay, so that's it about the first section on sustainability and sustainable development goals. All right, so any question, any addition, any contribution, any observation? Okay, if there's none, please interject freely and I'll stop to take your questions or concerns. All right, so let's look at challenges in achieving the sustainable development goals. What are the challenges of that? Number one is funding. The first challenge is funding, which is a general challenge because insufficient financial resources from the public and private sector may not drive the project. So funding is one of the challenge. And number two, implementation. The vision may be there, the money may be there, but weak political will to execute, monitor this could be a challenge, especially where governance and institutional capacity is not built. So implementation is also a challenge. Number three, monitoring and evaluation. Where implementation has been done, funds have been injected, deployed for this. Poor data systems may hinder tracking and accountability. So it's part of the challenge. And number 4, inequality, persistent disparity within and across countries between the male and the female species. There are some countries where they would even tell you women don't work, are not supposed to work. They should concentrate in the kitchen. So this equality is part of the challenge of driving SDGs. Number 5, technology. Uneven access and ethical concerns despite innovative benefits. Technology, some countries don't have this tech access to tech, internet, web. There are some countries you hear they ban the use of internet and all that. So this could be a challenge to achieving these goals. And number 6, the political will and corporations by governments and economies. The global conflicts, the wars going on across, we know of them. The global conflicts and weak collaboration could slow the progress of achieving these SDGs. So these 6 major challenges are the major bottlenecks bedeviling the achievement of the SDGs. All right, so let's look at the next unit. Haven't spoken to unit 2. Let's look at the next unit talking about sustainable businesses. A sustainable business is more than just a passing trend. Sustainability is a fundamental shift from how companies operate. The traditional way of companies operate is having, in quotes, the profit motive at any cost. So that shift from just operating for profit and also recognizing that long-term success is inextricably linked to the well-being of the society and the environment is that major shift, and that's what sustainability it's all about. So it's about creating value, not just for shareholders, the owners of the company, the founders, but for all stakeholders involved or is affected by that business, speaking to employees, customers, the community, and also the planet, which is very important. The community, the planet, ecosystems, land, air, water, everything should be positively affected by the presence of that business. That's what, or generally the idea of sustainable business by way of introduction. So let's look at the first section under this unit, the core principles of sustainable business or of a sustainable business. Number 1 is environmental stewardship. Businesses that are sustainability driven or sustainability centric, they reduce pollution, conserve resources, and restore ecosystems. So take, for example, an oil and gas company into exploration and extract of mineral crude and all that. They should be conscious of messing up the river, oil spillage and all that. So environmental stewardship is very important. Reducing population, messing up, like the example I gave of an oil and gas company into exploration and drilling or extracting mineral resources, oil from the earth or from the sea or wherever it is, should make sure that they have systems in place not to kill fishes, not to mess up water people use to drink in such areas where they are operating. Ensure the ecosystems are safe. That's environmental stewardship. Number 2 is social equity, fair labor, ethical sourcing, avoiding child labor, diversity, community engagement, CSR and all that like we looked at. So that's it about social equity. And the 4th one is economic viability, long-term profitability, resilience, and not just short-term gains, which is profit, make money, make sure your bottom line in your SCI is good, make sure you have a robust SFP and all that. No, but sustainability talks about long-term profitability, being futuristic in the business's approach. And number 4 is stakeholder engagement, involving stakeholders of the business, shareholders, clients, customers, staff, creditors, and all that in every decision that is to be made. Also, transparency and accountability, talking about reporting honestly and ensuring integrity in everything that is done by that business on the environmental and social impact or the social blueprints of that company. So those are the core principles of a sustainable business and what drives businesses to be sustainable. In the next section too, talking about key characteristics of a sustainable business. We have life cycle thinking, which is a key or core characteristic of a sustainable business. Life cycle thinking. Somebody is trying to say something. Okay, I think HO is not muted. All right. So we're talking about sustainable businesses. Sorry, sustainable, I beg your pardon, I lost my thoughts. Okay, characteristics of a sustainable business, and we spoke to life cycle thinking. That is full product or service lifespan. Talking about the lifespan of a business is life cycle thinking, ensuring that the impact of that product or service that is brought to the fore is ensuring that it provides value to the users of such business and service. Very key, because life cycle thinking about the products and the services that will be served to the public ensures that businesses look at the entire lifespan of a product or services or process of coming up with those products or services, from raw material extraction, production, distribution, and the use, all the way to also disposal and recycling, talking about maybe canned products, bottled products. So from beginning to finish, and also disposing them, instead of focusing only on one stage, manufacturing those products. You see, life cycle thinking considers environmental, social, and economic impact across all stages of a product or services. So in sustainability, life cycle thinking helps businesses identify hidden costs, reduce wastes, improve efficiency, and make decisions that are better for long-term value creation and also stakeholders involved in consumption or use of this product. So that's life cycle thinking essentially. Number 2 is circular economy. Circular economy talks about minimizing waste, maximize resources, maximize value is another core area of a sustainable business. It's very key. So a circular economy necessarily is a sustainability approach that focuses on keeping resources in use as long as possible by designing out waste and regenerating natural systems. So unlike traditional take, make, dispose kind of linear model, the circular economy promotes reducing or using the reduce parameter or component by using fewer resources, then reuse, talking about extend the product life, then repair and refurbish, talking about fixing and upgrading instead of discarding, and also recycling. If you look at some of these bottles of soft drinks, you see recycle. It's part of their sustainable goals. And recycling talks about recovering materials for new use. So generally, it's about organizations creating long-term value by conserving resources, lowering costs, and also minimizing environmental impact and supporting stakeholder expectations. So that's what the circular economy is all about. Then number 3 is innovation, creating sustainable products, processes, models, services that by innovation. Very key. Innovation is another key attribute of a sustainable business. Innovation speaks to creating new ideas, methods that improve efficiency and reduces negative impact and support long-term value creation. So in sustainability, innovation can be or can mean developing clean technology, for example, renewable energy, biodegradable packaging. So those are examples of developing clean technologies. And another example is like improving business models. So, for example, product as a service instead of outright ownership, something like that. And also another example, talking about driving social and governance improvements. An example is inclusive workplaces for male and female humans or species, and also transparent reporting. So innovation to how firms stay competitive, comply with regulations, and meet stakeholder expectations while addressing environmental and social risk is what innovation is all about. And also another point is being purpose-driven. Being purpose-driven aligns with the social and environmental goals beyond looking at profit. So purpose and being purpose-driven with these SDGs in mind, or social development goals in mind, is very important, because businesses that are purpose-driven ensure that the organization goes beyond profit and it is guided by a clear mission that creates long-term value for society, the environment, and stakeholders. It's purpose-driven decisions, strategies, and operations should align with higher purpose such as health, reducing carbon emissions, and promoting financial inclusions. So an entity whose strategy and actions are shaped by a core purpose that balances profit with positive social environmental impact always make waves in the business space. Very important. So being purpose-driven is very good. And finally, long-term focused, talking about prioritizing resilience over short-term results. So businesses may not make profit at their startup. They may not make profit in starting up. So that long-term focus and the resilience in times of downturn and maybe seeming losses, should keep the business in focus. So that long-term focus is very important. Long-term focus is very important for businesses. And long-term focus talks about having the business decisions that prioritize enduring value creation over just short-term gain. So organizations with long-term focus consider the future impact of today's action on the environment, society, and stakeholders, ensuring resilience, risk management, and a sustainable growth. So a long-term focus ensures strategies balance profitability today with the ability to thrive tomorrow by integrating sustainability into core business planning. This is key. So long-term focus is very important for businesses. So those are the key characteristics of a sustainable business. So take note of that. Any questions? Any contributions? Any observations? Okay, let's run the third section under this unit, looking at the benefits of sustainable business. Having looked at their characteristics, if employed, will drive or culminate in these benefits. It's beneficial to ensure that businesses know what it's in for them if they drive sustainability or sustainable businesses. So the first benefit is ensuring stronger brand reputation and customer loyalty. Sustainable businesses have this at the back of their minds: stronger brand reputation and customer loyalty. This is key. Secondly, higher employee engagement and retention is a strong benefit of sustainable businesses or employing sustainability for a business. So higher employee engagement and retention. And number three, cost savings from efficiency and waste reduction. Cost savings from efficiency and waste reductions. Where business employ most of these sustainable practices, it culminates in cost savings. For example, this recycling we keep talking about, businesses that do a lot of recycling reduce costs of manufacturing and production. So it's one of the good benefits of employing sustainability in a business. Access to new markets and opportunities. Sustainable businesses are always expanding into new horizons. They are being innovative. Number 5, better risk management, avoiding fines and reputations, because the economy and ensuring that ethical practices thrive, it's a better way to manage compliance risk, avoid fines, reputational damage to that company. Number 6, increase investor interest, which is an ESG focus. When businesses strive sustainably, they attract investments. They attract FDIs, foreign direct investments. And also number 7, contribution to solving global challenges is a benefit of sustainability. Talking about climate change, poverty, inequality. Now, these are the benefits because it contributes to solving these global challenges that are part of the SDG goals. So those are the benefits of sustainable businesses. All right, so that will be the end of sustainable business, the unit 3 of this chapter. All right, any questions, any contributions, observations? Okay, if we don't, let's look at the 4th unit before we go on break, I believe. Let's look at the triple bottom line reporting. I believe it's in SBR, should be part of, I think, SFM or so, but I think it was blown up in this case study, new study pack or new reviewed syllabus of 2025 of case study. Okay, excuse me. Let's look at the triple bottom line reporting and what it's all about. Triple bottom line reporting. It's a framework coined by John Elkington in 1994 for measuring performance on 3 pillars. The 3 pillars speak to profit, people, and the planet. So this framework was premised on profit, people, and the planet. And it moves beyond financial performance, even though profit comes first. But then, in consideration of profit, added is an equal people and also the planet, the environment that their business is domiciled. So a good idea by John Elkington in 1994, speaking to a business being successful if it's profitable and the human resources or human capital and the environmental resources are harnessed. Very, very important. A business is successful, not just beyond financial performance, but people performance and the environmental impact. So the first section under this triple bottom line unit speaks to the 3 pillars. Number 1, profit. It talks about economic performance, ensuring a proper generation of revenue, having good gross profit, having operating profit, and everything that speaks to the income statement practically, and also having a good net profit. Good. So economic performance is a good pillar under the triple bottom line idea. Then traditional financial results under the profit, we spoke to revenue, profit, shareholder value, and all that. It's a profit-driven idea. Also job creation, paying taxes, giving back to government so that they can run the economy. Local economic development is part of economic performance for a business, which is good. So economic performance is profit, and that's the first bottom line, which is the first pillar. And number 2 is the people pillar. Social performance. The business should be able to impact on employees, customers, community where they are resident or domiciled, and stakeholders. So the people performance or the social performance is very important, or an idea based on the triple bottom line idea. Then metrics is around health and safety of employees, paying them fairly, remunerating them fairly, diversity and inclusion of both sexes at work, human rights, customer satisfaction, customer retention, and community investment are metrics is under the people performance, very key. And the third one is the planet, talking about environmental performance, having positive environmental footprint of operations, like we spoke to, not impacting the environment, the ecosystem, water, land, air negatively. Metrics like emissions, water use, water waste, energy use, biodiversity, pollution, and reduction. One of the challenges around the South-South in the early 2010, 2009 that brought about some of these militants was the mess companies created around water pollution. And sustainable businesses were encouraged to avoid such, to have technologies around doing their exploration activities, extract of mineral resources, oil and gas, and not impacting the water and underwater resources negatively. So that's it about the planet. And the planet and the environmental performance is the third pillar, and three of them work hand in hand. So the first one is profit, second one is people, and the third one is the planet. So looking at the benefits of the triple bottom line reporting is that it's a holistic view of performance, not just in silo. It's a holistic view of the performance of the company. A company can do well profit-wise and mess up its people, mess up the planet. So that's not good, because the business is not just after profit at any cost. It must impact the people and the planet positively. So it's a holistic view of performance. It identifies sustainable improvement areas, talking about enhancing transparency and accountability. That's the benefit of the triple bottom line reporting. And one of the benefits is because it's that it attracts customers, investors, which is the ESG focus. So where businesses enhances this triple bottom line and take note of those pillars and implement them, they attract investors and customers by supporting strategic decision making, drives innovation in products and processes. It also improves brand reputation and stakeholder trust in such businesses. Very key. So outside looking at the benefits, we still have the challenges of triple bottom line reporting. Number one challenge is data collection. It's difficult to gather data around people and planet metrics, just like we have data and frameworks around the profit parameter or component. For accountants, you could just prepare an SCI on an income statement and it shows you what the business has done quantitatively, even qualitatively. But it's hard to have such framework. I don't know if there's any for people measuring people performance by a business, measuring planet performance in actual matrices and formats that is comprehensive for readers. So it's hard. So data collection can be a challenge. How do you measure that staff are satisfied? When you do a survey, been an internal auditor for a while, and we've been carrying out maybe employee satisfaction survey. One major challenge with employees, the salary is not enough. Salary is not enough. Salary is not enough. You always hear staff say that. If you ask, okay, in maybe the Google form you provide, HR provides to staff, what should the organization improve on? The next thing is they will say increase salary. Increase salary. So, data collection could be a challenge. How do you measure people performance and planet metrics? So that's one of the challenges of triple bottom line reporting. Number two is standardization, lack of uniform reporting through frameworks. Though frameworks exist, like the Global Reporting Initiative, the Sustainability Assurance Standard Board, and the IR, which came up with the IIRC framework. These reporting initiatives are there, but there's lack of enforcement and standardization across the globe. Also, the challenge of subjectivity. Some metrics are hard to quantify. Like I said, that of HR and that of environmental are hard to quantify monetarily or via reporting formats. And also the cost of sustainability reporting or doing this triple bottom line may be high for small and medium enterprises, medium scale enterprises, and also that of small businesses. Then the issue of greenwashing risk. Greenwashing risk is also a challenge of the triple bottom line reporting. Greenwashing risk. Actually, greenwashing risk is an idea around the risk that a company misleads shareholders by presenting products, policies, or practices as more environmentally friendly or sustainable than they really are actually. So that's what greenwashing risk is all about. The risk that a company misleads stakeholders. So greenwashing risk creates reputational and regulatory and even ethical risks because stakeholders may lose trust once the truth is revealed. And greenwashing arises when sustainability claims are exaggerated, they are vague, and or unverified, making it difficult for auditors or stakeholders to rely on reported ESG information. So that's one of the challenge of triple bottom line reporting, greenwashing. And the exam tip around this is that the triple bottom line is actually useful when discussing sustainability reporting, environmental, social, and governance disclosures, and integrated reporting, and also long-term strategy. So be ready to balance the benefits and the challenges in your answer. So when you look at the boxes talks about 8 of them, and they don't just look at benefits, they also look at challenges. Because if you look at the 4th box, issues and options, under the case study format, you see that issues and options talks about challenges and considerations. The ethical issues also talk about issues of ethics, what the company is not doing well, or critical matters affecting that company. Then when you talk of evaluative skills and judgment, you also talk about risk and positive risk and negative risk. So be ready to balance the benefits and challenges of some of these frameworks, like the triple bottom line. It's useful, but it has challenges. But then I must say that the benefits actually outweighs the challenges. The benefits actually outweighs their challenges. So in addressing triple bottom line questions or any sustainability questions, just have this at the back of your mind, especially with the ideas and with the people, profit, and planet idea. So that PPP could be an acronym that helps you remember how to address and integrate your answers in those boxes when it comes to questions around maybe where the examiner asks you to, in a requirement, address the issue of sustainability. So you should be able to have a framework or an idea on how to write such narratives. Okay, so that's it for the triple bottom line reporting unit. So we'll stop here and we'll go on a short